sleep habits, more of continually doing it, even when you mess up, the next day you do it, and etc. Like this constant fluctuation and realizing I just was consistently tired and fatigued throughout the week. Finding a consistent time to go to bed, regardless of what time I had to wake up. With sleep, is they suffer from jet lag every Monday. And I said, what do you mean? Quick preface though, if you do travel like in 2 different time zones, something he had said, the sleep doctor that is, had mentioned, like you start 2 or 3 things that you're grateful for throughout your day. That 10,000 foot look over your life. What I mean by that is like if you were in a plane and you look down and you see, like, you really see a different perspective of the world. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone else. Let's jump into today's conversation, which is on sleep habits that are definitely very, very useful to help with your sleep. So I know I've talked about sleep, how important it is and everything, kind of giving some different tidbits that can hopefully really resonate and help. So a lot of times, some of the things that can be really beneficial to improving your sleep is really to improve what you do prior to your sleep. Like your nightly routine, so to speak. I want to preface though, is in a nightly routine, it should just be something that you are doing to improve the quality and your preparation for sleep. Do not get married to the idea of having a nightly routine where it like makes you frustrated and more stressed if you don't do your nightly routine or aren't able to do that order, because life is going to happen. Honestly, it's really about just being consistent. And consistency is not something that's just a straight, continual line of like every day I'm super consistent or something. It's more of continually doing it, even when you mess up, the next day you do it, and etc. So with sleep habits, here are some few like ways you can improve and add to your nightly routine and to better your ability to have good sleep. And a quick preface with these is if you haven't done any of these, don't try to jump and do all of them at one time. It's kind of like stairs. The best bet is to take one step at a time. Don't skip a bunch of steps just so you can get there faster. You increase the chances of you falling when you try to skip a ton of steps, you try to jump over a ton of steps, versus or similarly with sleep, you skipping a few steps or trying to do too much at one time, you increase the chances of you failing, because you want to build the habit. That's really what it's about. It's why it's called trying to create that consistency, those habits, because that's going to be something that you can stick with. So we want to build that, create a good habit. So let's think of some good sleep habits. I want to just list this because then that's just kind of bleh. So I'll use like some analogies with clients or myself. I remember when I took this dive into trying to improve my personal sleep a few years ago. I had a job where I was just working just various different hours, to where like this constant fluctuation and realizing I just was consistently tired and fatigued throughout the week, which, as mentioned before, will prey upon all your other pieces to help to your health. You're not going to handle your stress as well. You're not going to handle your workouts as well. You're not going to be as productive throughout the day. Your diet potentially is going to be impeded upon. Like your ability to really just make good logical decision making and just giving your all, so to speak. So I really dove into trying to figure out where was my sleep optimized, how many hours do I need. I also had a sleep study. Not that that's necessary for everybody, but I just also did that because of having some issues with my health at the time. And it really benefited jumping into, of course, the things that I talked about before, of setting up your sleep tracking things, of course, figuring it out. But what some of the habits I started doing was finding a consistent time to go to bed, regardless of what time I had to wake up. If it moved, I tried to give myself a range of time that I would go to sleep. So let's say, for example, I'll just take a time that I had more recently with a job where on like most of the week I could wake up around 7 a.m. in the morning, while 2 days out of the week I would need to get up closer to like 6 a.m., maybe 5:30 a.m. So what I would do is I would alter my, I thought at first to alter my times of going to sleep, you know, try to wiggle it around, but it seemed to like mess it up even more. So what I did is I just made a consistent time of like, okay, as long as I'm in bed consistently between this hour of time. So it was like between 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. 9 a.m. for the earlier days, 10 p.m. for the later days, so it wasn't a huge fluctuation. It wasn't more than an hour. I kind of stole this from a client of mine who was a sleep doctor. And he talked about how what gets a lot of people with sleep is they suffer from jet lag every Monday. And I said, what do you mean? It's like, well, you know, if you travel out of like your time zone, you change time zones, you know how like when anytime you move back and forth, whether it's going to that location or back. So he used an example because he would be traveling, like he said, when he traveled to India, because he was from there. So you travel to India, and you travel back. You said what you typically would find is because of so many hour change, you would feel that what people call jet lag. Well, it's the same when you consistently have to get to work. Let's say you work a 9-to-5 job or whatever. You got to get there by 9. So you're waking up. Let's just use my thing before. Let's just say you get up at 7 a.m. in the morning throughout the week, but come Friday night, you go to bed much later than you normally do. Saturday, you sleep in. Sunday, you do the same thing. You don't go to bed. Saturday night, you don't go to bed early. You go to bed later. You get up later on Sunday. But then on Monday, so Sunday night, you got to go to bed sooner. So you got to alter everything. And then on Monday, you got to get up much earlier. And you wind up suffering the same problem. It's like you went through time zones and you suffer Monday and Tuesday from your jet lag. And then you get kind of okay on Wednesday, Thursday, and then start repeating it Friday night. So you just constantly play this loop. What is better to do is find a consistent time, 7 days out of the week, go to bed. Now, because I'm use this for training purposes, like I'm talking to a client, I'm going to do the same thing I do with clients. Because just saying, for example, let's use my my times I've said. So let's say, okay, cool. Fred, go to sleep at 9 p.m. every night. Easier said than done, right? So what is better if I give them an hour's worth of time to fluctuate? All right, go to bed between the hour of 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. Based on, and you can fluctuate it based on the time you got to wake up, will allow you to stay pretty consistent and acclimated. So some nights it may be 9 p.m., some nights it may be 9:30, 10 p.m., that kind of thing. You'll be able to build this consistency. And then on the other side is wake up at a consistent time. So it's easier to say, hey, wake up at 6 a.m. every night, every morning, no matter what. But again, we go with that time of variance. So okay, Fred, going back to 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Between that time, depending on what time you got to go to work, maybe it's on the weekend, you get up at 7 a.m. instead, and then that fluctuates, and then you got a little bit of that grace, but at the same time, it's not throwing you off too much. So now you have built this ability to keep yourself consistent. So that's one, like setting that parameter, setting your times, and you kind of avoid like that jet lag feeling. Quick preface though, if you do travel like in through different time zones, something he had said, the sleep doctor that is, had mentioned, like you start like acclimating yourself to that idea of the change, whether that's more hours or less hours, like a few days before, and then a few days after, allow yourself to adapt and change. So from him, again, from being a sleep doctor, he's kind of a little preface is don't think that when you get back from a trip that the next day you're going to go to work. You probably should plan yourself another extra day so you can reacclimate yourself to time. But let's get back to this. So sleep. Another sleep habit that can be really useful is to do like a gratefulness, thankfulness thing before you go to sleep. What do I mean? So you can just say, let's say right before, when you lay down in bed, or right before you go to lay down in bed, however you want to do that, just during like that hour before your time to go to sleep, you sit down, whether you name it out loud or you write it down in a journal. Maybe you have a significant other that you can say it to while you'll both get ready for bed. Is name 2 or 3 things that you're grateful for throughout your day. And really mean it. Really think about it. And don't just be like, I'm grateful I didn't die. Like that's useful for some people. But again, be really mindful and think about what is something that happened throughout your day you can be thankful for. And it changes your mindset to being thankful, positive mindset, and you're able to process your day in a different perspective, and it is a calming effect. A very, very useful tool to help get your mind to relax. It's something that else that kind of ties into this is meditation. I know I've mentioned that before, but something that really has, I don't know if any of you can relate with this, that really like, some of you are gonna be like, how dare you, but you know, something that I have done before and use is praying while I'm laying in bed. Normally I don't finish the prayer. I fall asleep. Now somebody's gonna be like, how dare you? But you know, it's useful because again, it's a change in your perspective. It's a form of meditation where you're trying to relax the mind, speak, and again, if it's easier, speak it out loud, and allow yourself to, in a sense, take this thought of gratefulness, take this thought of, again, like praying to God, talking about, like, again, that's another way of doing it, is praying to God, talking about your day, or allowing yourself to, like, just conversate with Him, as well as a way of doing a meditation would be taking like that 10,000 foot look over your life. And what I mean by that is like if you were in a plane and you look down and you see, like, you really see a different perspective of the world. Versus down here, like, everything can seem so big and complicated, and all these problems we deal with on a daily basis seem so overwhelming. But if you take that 10,000 foot look, like you're looking from the plane, looking down, and everything looks so small, right? If you could see the cars, they're super puny, like ants. Potentially not. The houses look like that. Everything looks so small. Give you a different perspective of looking over your whole day or your whole week, and really change your perspective again to that positive gratefulness mindset, and kind of looking at it outside of all the emotional, subjective thoughts, but being a little bit more objective about it, and can help switch the frustration and anxiety and stressful mindset to this more positive, more objective look. And it can really help, again, like I said, prepare your mind for sleep. Because the goal is to be able to, at least in my mind, this should be your goal, is so that when you lay down, you're able to actually fall asleep pretty quickly versus just, sitting there for hours wishing you could fall asleep. So I hope that's useful and helpful. Is try these few healthy habits of helping prepare yourself for sleep, and changing your mindset and perspective to better mentally prepare for sleep. Of course, some quick things that you can do. One is one thing I started doing is wearing an eye mask during the night, especially if there's lighting and everything. Throw that on your face. Really help again. Get yourself into, if you can darken the room, black out, I know I've said that before, but black out shades, things like that can really darken the room. You can also listen to calming music. Brain FM is a really useful tool. And then as well as just being in a temperature environment that's a lot better for yourself. There's ways to get like your mattress, or there's ways of getting a little material that you can put on that can maybe change the temperature for yourself, so that you and your significant other can have their own temperatures. Obviously the temperature in the room, potentially less blankets, because they do tend to say that if you're cooler, you tend to sleep better. They didn't say cold, it said cooler. We don't want to get frostbite, but also you don't want to overheat. It tends to be a negative to your sleep typically. So hopefully that's helpful, so you get better sleep. Till next time.